I would never actually do this, like ever. But I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people.
Surprisingly, you get a lot of action that way. No, we had a good time. No one died, which was nice.
Thanks, Mom.
Y'all, this one is messy because word on the street is Sydney Sweeney just let it slip, why Blake Lively allegedly tried to blacklist her. And the reason? It's got everything to do with Ryan Reynolds being a little too friendly with Miss Sydney. Now fans are side-eyeing the whole situation, wondering if there's more to Blake Lively's Met Gala snub than we thought. Like, are we really about to witness a quiet Hollywood catfight unfold in real time? And y'all, when I tell you Sydney ain't holding back, she really said what she said. Let's dive right in. So now let's talk about this sneaky little rumor that's been making its way around Hollywood, because people are speculating that there might be something going on between Ryan Reynolds and Sydney Sweeney. And Blake being Blake, allegedly was not here for it. Word is she went full I will destroy you mode and tried to blacklist Sydney as a punishment for even being in her husband's orbit. Now let's be honest, this doesn't come as a shock to people who've been peeping Blake's energy for a while. That sweet, perfect Pinterest mom image she gives? Yeah, it's giving. Controlled PR fantasy. The real Blake? Allegedly toxic. And that lawsuit she filed against her co-star Justin Baldoni just proves it. Like, she accused him of all kinds of stuff that, if we're being real, barely adds up. And I'm not the only one saying it. Online, people have been dragging her, calling the whole lawsuit a reach. One person even commented, "Pathetic. Everyone just needs to cancel the couple and stop talking about them. No fans, no fame, no career, no money, justice." And let's not even get started on this other comment that perfectly summed up the collective vibe. The way this is coming out anyway. Wow. Ryan and Blake's team really fumbled that one. How dare they do that to a young actress? I hope they get everything coming to them. Nobody's buying their over-the-top PDA trash, and now it's coming out and I'm here for it. The internet is not holding back. And honestly, can you blame them? Especially when Sydney's just out here trying to live her best life and get her coins. Speaking of living her best life, Miss Sweeney popped out at the 2025 Met Gala looking drop-dead gorgeous, like a literal doll. She stepped onto that carpet fresh off a breakup with her ex-fiancé Jonathan Davino and still ate the whole look up. She wore a black Miu Miu gown that showed off just enough to make the haters choke and paired it with De Beers jewels and a sleek updo.
Straight ahead. Guys, right here. Sydney, the front of the dress. Just turn this way to the front. No, Sydney.
But while Sydney was out there owning the night, guess who skipped the Met Gala entirely? Blake and Ryan. Now y'all, the streets are saying it's because they didn't want any awkward run-ins at the event. I mean, imagine showing up and seeing your husband's rumored crush serving body odi on the carpet. That would have been a PR nightmare. Of course, their team tried to spin it like it was no big deal. A Us Weekly source said, "She's not a Kardashian that goes every year." And TMZ tried to clean it up too, reporting that their decision to skip had nothing to do with the lawsuit Blake's dealing with, or the drama with Sydney. They claimed the couple had made their decision well before the legal mess went public. But let's be real, nobody's buying that. Neither Blake nor Ryan has publicly addressed their absence. But the timing, the tension, the headlines, all of it's giving cover-up, not coincidence. And get this, the hate Blake Lively allegedly has for Sydney Sweeney, it's not just about Ryan Reynolds anymore. Nope. Some sources are whispering that Sydney might also be getting cozy with another man connected to Blake, and that's her former co-star Brandon Sklenar. So Sydney was definitely gonna catch some smoke for that. In a short TikTok clip that's been going viral, Sydney and Brandon are seen vibing hard in the VIP section during Creed's Sedum, and y'all, the way Sydney backed it up on him, not a full-blown twerk, but it was giving soft flirtation. Like, very much, we're just friends, but with sparks flying everywhere.
These two are absolutely seeing each other, and no one can convince me otherwise. There's a viral video going around of them dancing with each other at Stagecoach, and dozens of other sightings together since
Brand new. This is Hollywood. You don't get caught on camera doing that with someone unless there's already some kind of connection. And when it comes to Blake, people say she is not the type to just brush that off. Not when it's two men who are are both close to her. So yes, we've gone over the whispers, the shade, and the soft launch hate campaign against Sydney Sweeney, all allegedly sparked by some vibes with Ryan Reynolds. But y'all are probably asking, how did it even get to this point? Let's go back and break down how this all actually started, how Sydney went from career highs to being iced out, all in a matter of days. April 15th, 2025. Sydney's at her peak. That Glass Chapel panel in Paris had execs finally seeing her as more than just the hot girl from Euphoria. Critics were talking, Netflix was reaching out, scripts were flying in, Ryan Reynolds even complimented her publicly for how she carried the panel. Everything was aligning. But when Sydney flew back to New York, something changed. Her career was already being quietly shut down, and she didn't see it coming. On that flight, Sydney was chilling. But a few rows ahead of her, Ryan was on the phone, and not being discreet. According to someone who heard him, he allegedly said that his relationship with Blake Lively is contractual.
You get a lot of action that way. We had a good time. No one died, which was nice.
That was good.
And 4 kids, it's just a zoo. Like, you just surrender, right?
You just have to surrender.
24/7, you surrender. When we had our 4th, I was so happy because I always wanted to make sure that we always had someone on hand to give me strep throat. And now we're covered.
It's rolling sickness.
There's just never a healthy, a full, clean slate health ever.
If true, he wasn't just talking about a rough patch, he was allegedly saying the whole marriage was staged, a PR deal. And Sydney, she stayed silent, but someone else on that plane didn't. They were industry connected and clearly had no issue spreading what they heard. And just like that, Sydney went from it girl to liability. 2 days later, her phone stopped ringing. Meetings got canceled. Interviews went dark. Even her agent pulled back. Nobody said why, but the industry knew. She was being labeled as a high discretion risk. Not because she said anything, but because she could. They weren't willing to take that chance. They didn't protect Ryan by fixing the problem. They protected him by turning her into the problem. And that's where Blake's power came in. She didn't have to say anything publicly. But when someone like Blake Lively decides you're a threat, doors start closing real fast. It wasn't just about that one conversation. It was the idea that Ryan might have trusted Sydney too much, that he let something slip, that he got too close, and people are catching on. One commenter summed it up. Ryan is already torpedoing his career. Blacklisting Sydney to try and save Ryan is beyond a desperate move. And it is. The way this all played out doesn't feel like damage control, it feels like panic. Sydney didn't break any rules. She didn't leak anything, but somehow she's the one paying the price. Now here's where things get real shady. Behind the silence and dropped calls, there was a quiet storm, and Blake Lively was right in the center of it. People inside the industry say Blake wasn't just reacting, she was moving. When Ryan's little airplane monologue started making the rounds, Sydney's name got tied to it fast. Not because she leaked anything, but because she was there. She heard it. And if she heard that, what else could she know? Blake, being who she is in Hollywood, didn't wait around. She started making calls, whisper campaigns, quiet suggestions to pull Sydney back. And the fallout? It's all there. Dior dropped Sydney's campaign mid-shoot. No press release, no explanation. Just gone. Netflix? They pulled her from a lead role she'd already screen tested for, said the creative direction had shifted. Then a Slack message leaked from someone inside the studio, pull her visibility. Sydney didn't post, didn't clap back, but it was clear this wasn't a coincidence. Then fast forward a little bit further, and Glass Chapel was finally premiering in New York, her first major dramatic lead. Her team had everything set. Designer dress, glam squad on standby, car confirmed, arrival time locked. But what she got, not a red carpet call sheet, not even a mention in the press lineup, just a guest wristband. As in, no photo ops, no interviews, no spotlight. The studio blamed logistics, said Ryan's schedule was too tight, said they had to streamline the press run, but nowhere in the messaging did Sydney's name come up. Not in the invites, not in the articles, not even on the call sheet. And just like that, the entire premiere turned into a Ryan Reynolds solo event. He walked that carpet alone, suit pressed, smile locked in, looking unbothered. Every photo, just him, every headline, Ryan shines at Glass Chapel premiere. Sydney, who carried the movie, wasn't mentioned once. She was cut out of the very thing she helped build. So here's what people behind the scenes are whispering, and it's making this whole thing look even messier. There's a growing theory that Ryan's little phone slip up on that flight wasn't an accident. That maybe, just maybe, it wasn't even a rant. It was a confession to Sydney. Because think about it, why was he talking like that on a public flight? Why wasn't he worried about being overheard? It's almost like he wanted her to hear, or maybe he was actually talking to her. People on that flight said she didn't flinch, didn't react. Not because she wasn't shocked, but because maybe this wasn't news to her. Maybe they'd already had those kinds of conversations. And that's where it gets real deep. Industry insiders started pointing out how close Ryan and Sydney had gotten during their promo. He was allegedly always right next to her, always laughing, always leaning in, always looking extra comfortable around her. And not in a co-star kind of way, in a something's going on here kind of way. And here's where Blake Lively comes back into the picture. Because Blake's whole brand is based on control. That polished, all-American image, she works hard to keep it perfect. So if she felt that Ryan was drifting, and towards someone like Sydney no less, that would be war. Sydney's young. She's on the rise. She's stunning. She's winning over critics. And worst of all, she's not doing anything wrong. She's just existing. And apparently, that alone was enough to get her blacklisted. But let's be real. Judging by Sydney's latest Met Gala appearance, she's winning this. And let's not forget, this was her first major event since all the drama with Ryan Reynolds. And y'all, she looked unbothered, like a woman who knows she's booked, busy, and backed. And speaking of booked, the rumors are true. Sydney is already locked in for multiple new film deals. And not just indie passion projects either. We're talking major studio productions, including Split Fiction, which is already moving fast despite dropping just months ago. One fan even said, and I live for this kind of stand commentary, Sydney Sweeney is booked until her late 50s. Also, kinda incredible how video game projects are being greenlit that fast. Split Fiction is a couple months old. Hollywood is really surfing this as the next big wave. Like, let's talk about that for a second. People used to clown her for being just a pretty face. Now she's running circles around industry veterans. So yeah, if Blake Lively did try to blacklist her, let's just say it didn't stick. And while Sydney is busy catching bags and glowing up, Blake Lively is still out here being shady, and not subtly either. Let's talk about her latest film with Anna Kendrick, the sequel to A Simple Favor. Cute on the surface, sure, but dig a little deeper and the subtext is spicy.
Just telling me
She'll be like
funny
smooth as pie. It should be smooth as silk or whatever.
Easy as pie.
Yeah,
Right.
and smooth as silk. But my mom, I think, is a very confident person, and so for me, yeah, I sort of like struggled with that because I've sometimes judged her for being so confident, which I think is like not fair, right?
Yeah, you're such a bad daughter.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session. What you've stepped into, you didn't realize.
So both of you are very active on social media, and there are a lot of people have opinions about you. How do you kind of just like, not let it affect you at all?
Everyone's opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do. Because everyone's like,
endorphin
you're
rush.
great. And I'm like, I know.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted. Yeah. Blake Lively.
You can mute people on Instagram?
Yeah, it's a new feature.
Really?
I know. Get excited.
Remember when Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, went on the Megyn Kelly show and said he was gonna sue Blake Lively into oblivion? That was back in January. Well, guess what? Blake just might be firing back in the most passive-aggressive way possible.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin. There's a number of different defendants here. Stephanie Jones will be all over this complaint. That is the PR agent who was supposed to be working for Justin Baldoni. Leslie Sloan, who's another PR agent who will be part of this lawsuit. That was Blake Lively's. Blake Lively will be sued, and we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
In the movie, there's a moment where Blake's character, Nelson, turns to Anna Kendrick's character and says, "I'm going to have to sue you into oblivion for using my name and likeness without my express written consent." Now y'all tell me that's not a reference. Like, come on, it's an inside joke. It's giving, I heard what you said and I'm putting it in my script. And the way it's timed, with the release, the press tour, the red carpet, it feels less like a random line and more like a message. But now I really want to know what y'all think about all this. Do you think Blake Lively really tried to blacklist Sydney Sweeney? Or was Sydney just caught in Hollywood crossfire? Was Ryan Reynolds just venting on that plane? Or was he low-key confessing his real feelings to Sydney? And after Sydney's power play at the Met Gala and her upcoming roles, do y'all think she's officially uncancelable? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you loved this breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and make sure to turn on the bell notification so you don't miss the next juicy drop.